Hello, everybody. Who is the trifecta today on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network? I am Christy Winters Scott, joined by the dynamic duo right here, Cindy Brunson and Helen Williams. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hey, hey.
Hey. Oh boy, I don't know where to start, but I know where we're going to start. But I have been sitting in the chair with the headset on for 3 hours, 48 minutes. Someone told us for the
Jeez.
4 overtime bonanza with the Washington Mystics and the Portland Fire a couple days ago. I still haven't recovered. My voice is still a me, 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 me. I'm still doing tea. However, speaking of tea, Cindy, why don't you start us off by spilling a little tea from a press conference moments ago, hot off the presses for us, please?
Well, as everybody knows, I live here in the Valley and, of course, the Phoenix Mercury. Back at work, and finally somebody put a microphone in front of Alyssa Thomas to ask what she's been dealing with since that flagrant 2 was adjudicated and she served her 1-game suspension. And she simply said, "This is out of control. It has just gotten crazy. I have been receiving death threats.
I cannot.
Where is our commissioner, Kathy Engelbert?"
No.
So,
That's a good
and
question.
AT also said in game, nobody thought anything of it because everybody just got up and played. And so everybody from the Mercury sides, when they talked about their flabbers being gasted, that's why nobody
Right.
reacted in game. Not Caitlin, not any of her teammates or enforcers or however you want to phrase that, not her head coach in that time. It was only after the fact when that ISO freeze frame happened on that
Yeah.
video and a
Yep.
2-second play was blown up and out in all kinds of ways. When I'm watching Good Morning America and I'm sitting there getting an email saying Disney Plus is going to increase its cost to nearly $200 a year. And I'm like, why am I paying for this? And this is on Good Morning America when that in an isolated incident, it's so, I just don't like the narrative. I don't like any of it. It just doesn't sit well on my heart. And I thought Chiney Ogwumike and the ESPN crew really broke that down beautifully. And when former WNBA players who have played with and alongside these individuals in particular
Yep.
thoughtfully break down what happened, that should end it. But the fact that it didn't, it's exhausting. It is literally exhausting that we spend so much time not talking about basketball, not talking about all of the great things that are happening. Natasha Howard and Marina Mabrey, players of the week, after outstanding efforts. 53 from Chef Mabrey.
How about that?
And half of her threes, where did they come from? The logo. I've been watching that young woman shoot from the logo for a decade. She got on my radar her junior year at Notre Dame. For one player in the league to create such hostility and volatility around the people that support her, I've never seen anything like it in this league, in women's basketball in general. And I'm trying to think of in sport overall. It's just something has got to be done. It's just because it can't continue like this. It's just taken the joy out of everything. And I have now coined these guys joy vampires. Like, if you can't just talk about basketball, if that is above what you are capable of doing, please stand down. Because we want to celebrate the 30-year anniversary of this league and all of the greatness that we are seeing in every corner of the league. Every time. Look at how many different players have been awarded Player of the Week. We are in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
And we can't enjoy this because of the toxicity and the joy vampires. I'm sorry, guys. I just,
No,
that has been so heavy in my heart.
no, talk about it, because that's what you point at. That's what you point at, right? Okay, so listen to me, Helen. When you hear the astonishing statement by AT talking about death threats, what, as fans, first of all, take basketball off the as human beings, someone's child being served death threats? Are you kidding me right now? Number one. Number two, what is AT supposed to do? So now she recalibrates. She's a winner, gold medalist, all of everything. Like, she's a champ. We understand. She goes hard. What's she supposed to do now in terms of going back out on the floor, right? And feel safe. Like, if someone, listen, I have 3 babies. Someone did, listen, a death threat is above and beyond what is necessary at any time on any level. Work, basketball, librarians, anybody, coaches. Don't get me started on that, because I have a high school situation that happened with me, with a kid from another school. And high school. Don't get me started on that. So, and what happens? Oh, I'm gonna write a sorry note, and then I'm gonna send it to you. And who knew if that kid even wrote it? And that's all I'm gonna say about that, because that just, but it burns me that social media, which I love because of the exposure that it creates, right? For women in sports, and the positive things that it brings to sports, the joy side, to your point, Cindy. But when it goes overboard, Helen, to threaten someone's life with a death threat because of basketball or anything else, I am just astonished, and I am irate about that, because you don't do that to another human being. You just don't do that to another human being. And what do you think, Helen? Because I am like through the roof with that. That's insane.
This is emblematic of a larger part of society and what's happening in society right now. Sports is always a reflection of what happens in larger society. And with this, people are hijacking they cherry pick and choose certain situations to hijack so that they can project their narrative onto the situation. And it has nothing to do with basketball. You have people who never watched women's basketball before, who all of a sudden want to insert themselves, whether it's media or just Joe Blow, who is sitting at home with no life, and this is their opportunity to be seen and to have something to say. So they just hijack and project their narrative onto the situation, and they've been doing that ever since Caitlin Clark has come into the league. I said at the beginning, maybe she hadn't found her voice. At some point, maybe she will. But thus far, we haven't heard from her in that kind, in terms of a way like a Paige Becker, who just put it out there. This is wrong. Don't do this. This is not what I'm about. We haven't heard that from Caitlin Clark yet. And it could be she hasn't found her voice. It could be she doesn't want to use her voice. I'm not privy to whichever situation it is, but it's an emblematic of what's happening in our society at large today.
And to that point, you guys, I think there was something that Caitlin Clark said. It was either her senior season at Iowa or a rookie season at Indiana. But there was like a couple of weeks after something had been said, and I think she did say something. It looked like it was a post-practice scrum, where she did make some kind of a statement where she said, don't be cruel out here to people. But at the same time, I heard Steph White, who I love. We love Steph White.
Yeah.
Okay. And watching that video after the fact, right? I would be upset too if I'm coaching and that's my kid. I get it. So I think and I know we spoke about this last week on all the pods here on Her Hoop Stats, just about how you have to nip things in the bud at the beginning of games so it doesn't escalate to things that could happen that way. Now, if you go wide frame on that, you can see Alyssa Thomas getting up and not even looking, right? But
No,
if
she
you
had her eye on the ball the entire time.
this
Her
way,
eyes are tracing the basketball. That's
right,
all she cared about in that instance. Possession
right.
of the rock.
Right. And she was, and then when you crop it down, it looked more volatile, right? Because you don't
Mm-hmm.
know the full scheme of what happened. Not saying it's right, wrong, or otherwise, but creating a narrative, to your point, Helen, is what happens when you crop the picture down. And yes, there was contact there. Was it egregious? There was no call on the floor. So for me, watching, I'm like, okay, make that a call on the floor then, and then you can upgrade it at that specific point in time in the moment and not have to go back and review it and then adjudicate it in that way and suspend her for a game. Because during the moment, that's when you got to nip it in the bud. And again, as a parent, I'm not going to let my kids just run around, run amok, run amok, run amok. And then on the 10th time they do something like, hey, stop it. You think they're going to listen to me? Number one. No, they're not. They're going to run amok until I say stop it on the first time they do something. Right? But that's what needs to happen. And whatever, like that call needed to be made spot on, like at that moment. And then, okay, if you look at it at that time at the table in that game and upgrade it, and that's a flagrant 2, boom, you're out of the game, then so be it, so be it. But that has to be how it's done. It can't be after the fact. It can't be not nipped in the bud, man, at the time of the infraction, right?
Yes.
Call it on the floor. So then now you're helpless as an official. If you don't make a call now, well, there was no call on the floor. So I can't go back real time and fix it. But then to my point about 10 times with my kids, now you're on take 3. Pretty much, right? Because there were 2 fouls that weren't called. So now you don't have leverage then because there was no call on the floor. Right. So make a call on the floor. And if it's 100 whistles, then so be it. Like it's not, it's going to be a very disjointed, the fluidity of the game is going to be impacted. I get it. But we don't need to have go back and retroactively serve notice on egregious contact and suspend players on the backtrack of it. If you see it real time, then say it. See something, say something, make the call at the moment.
That part. Here's what I would like to see. First and foremost, I think there are so many corners of the socials that just simply say, you hate Caitlin Clark. There is no way I could ever hate any female basketball player ever. I love everybody 10 toes down. I want Caitlin to have the most successful career. I want her to win. I want her to get all the flowers, all of the things, because I appreciate money. I love the fact that she has brought eyeballs to the game. Like, we're trying to grow this thing, and she's a big part of that. I appreciate that. What I loathe with every fiber of my being is the negativity attached to some of her stands that just cannot see the forest for the trees. And if you act like Caitlin has hung the sun, moon, and stars, then you're okay. And they agree with that. But if you bring up, well, she's not shooting the best 3-point percentage on her own team, maybe that's something she could improve on. Kelsey Mitchell's at 40%. Caitlin, career high 34. Yes, but is there room to improve? And the vitriol I get online is crazy. I'm just trying to have a basketball conversation like we've done over and over and over before the draft class of 2024 came on the scene, right? Yes. And it just turns into all this. I know the vitriol firsthand that AT is putting up with. I've seen it happen to my friends. I've seen it happen to other players. And I would hope that Indiana as an organization or Kathy Engelbert as commissioner would step in. Remember, Kathy didn't step in when all of this went down during Caitlin's rookie season until the very last day of the regular season with a blank statement. You know what I mean? It was just this like, well, we don't want to play that way. We don't want to be like that. Well, you have an opportunity at the Commissioner's Cup game to say something. And what is Kathy doing? Not speaking to the media.
Tonight?
Tonight,
She's not speaking to the media tonight?
she has said she is unavailable for media. She will make
This
a
is
statement, but not take questions.
I did not
this
know
is.
that.
I am actually taking a class on organizational leadership right now.
Ooh,
Just
the
to keep
timing.
my brain. This is perfect timing. When you don't set the tone at the top with ethics, with values, with your leadership, then, as in Christy's statement comes, you can let people run amok.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathy does not have a relationship where she can pick up the phone, should have picked up the phone, whether it's AT now or somebody else back then, and said, hey, what's going on? How can we help you?
Mhm.
That is not happening. That's why you get the comments from Nafisa Collier last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to set the tone with your ethics and your values, and you have to make sure that people buy into that. But if you don't have a relationship with the people that you work with, it's kind of hard because they don't know if there is anything to buy into.
Right.
So
Right.
it starts at the top and it trickles down. And what we're seeing is a lack of leadership, a lack of, from the outside, I will say, looks like a lack of empathy, a lack of caring, and a lack of structure where there are consequences for the people that do these things. Now, you cannot police social media. I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
No.
but you can
Unfortunately.
you can have a stronger stance. You can find ways to communicate that strong stance on a consistent basis. What Kathy has done is she's just put people in an impossible situation.
Yeah.
Stephanie White is in an impossible situation.
Mm-hmm.
She's damned if she do and damned if she don't, because obviously she's going to have to, take up for Caitlin Clark, whether she can defend or not. Right?
Okay.
Understand that. And that's between her and Caitlin to work out, hey, Caitlin, you need to do better. You need to be a better leader, blah, 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 blah. But she's in an impossible situation because people don't like the fact that she defends her, but then the other people don't like the fact that if she didn't defend her. This honestly has nothing to do with basketball. This just happens to be the arena in which this behavior is happening.
Wowza. That's a word right there, Helen, for sure. Because I know, Cindy, you just said that, Kathy Engelbert's not going to take questions, but if she has a statement tonight, I hope, wish, and pray that it has something to do with what has happened with Alyssa Thomas in this situation and getting death threats. I hope, wish, and pray that that is addressed. And like you said, the ethics piece, Helen, that needs to be paramount. That needs to be top tier. That needs to be what this league has stood on for 30 years, right? The love of the game being the star and the way things are being handled. And you can't police social media. And to your point, that's just, and I wish you could. I mean, you could block people. I mean, and just mute and block, restrict all the things that you can do on social media. I've done, and I can do that too to this. If people have something to say about what I'm saying on here, period. I don't care. I just love the game so much for what it stands for, right? And this would be such a missed opportunity to address the further growth of the ethics of the WNBA and what the WNBA has stood for, the inclusivity, the everyone standing together, like we saw that in the Wubble, just the unified love that everyone presents for this game. And to have anyone come in from the outside trying to ruin that needs to be stopped. And that's what I hope, wish, and pray happens in that presser with no questions coming in, but you have a statement to make. And I hope that's part of the statement because there are too many people out here with blood, sweat, and tears and shoulders that this league has been built on for 30 years. And some that didn't even play in the league.
Yeah.
love the league the same way as people who actually got the opportunity to compete in it. So this is the opportunity to clear it, to make sure that it doesn't happen again, that there are legal repercussions to people who serve death threats to players in this league. I mean, if you go to the Trader Joe's and give somebody a death threat in there, you're going to jail. Like, you will be in trouble. So there has to be some level of the law that could also stand in the gap here to protect the ethics and the inclusivity and the love of the game of basketball, but what it serves as, the love of team and the love of life. And that needs to be protected right now.
100%. I also want to push back on the narrative from some corners of the media of the new faces in the media spaces calling for special protections and rules for Caitlin Clark.
I have not seen them.
Wait, there already was one rule for her, was it not? The you can't touch anybody, and then it backfired because freedom of movement was it quote unquote not for Caitlin, and now she can't defend, so she's sitting on the bench.
Well,
I did not know
freedom
that was
of
for
movement
her.
also includes you can't push off, right? You can't. She loves that two-hand push off to create space, right? So she's getting whistled for the offensive foul. So the rule has already been put in place. Short of wrapping up that young woman in bubble wrap and sending her down the floor, I don't understand what more protection could happen in a contact sport.
I did not know
it's
that.
not about basketball,
Right.
though.
I know.
That is what it is couched in. It's not about basketball. And I don't care if Kathy does put out a statement. It's just a piece of paper. You need to be at that game tonight. And you need to be present. You need to have a strong physical, verbal presence. Whatever you were doing, you need to get on a flight and get there. Is the game in New York or is it in Vegas? I didn't have a chance to look. If it's in New York, it's down the street and around the corner.
I believe it's Vegas, but I'm not sure. What is it, Cindy? Is it in Vegas?
Right. Vegas.
I think they have the better record right now. Vegas has the better record, and I'm just going with that.
Get on a charter flight. Get on a charter flight. Get your buns there. Be visible. Talk to the media. Strongly say this isn't what's supposed to happen, and these are the things that we are doing to protect our players. Because right now it looks like they're not being protected, and it's not just AT. It's a lot of other situations too. It's everybody that's not Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark we all love her. We all think she's a player. She's going to be great. Just like any other player entering the league, there's stuff she's got to work on every year. She's got to get in the lab every summer. That's no different than anybody else. But this is couched in basketball. It has nothing to do with basketball. It just happens to be where they can press that narrative.
But what I like to do sometimes to better understand things is like flip the script and like put shoes on other feet. And if that happened to another player or any other player, like, I mean, what would that look and sound like? Like, I don't know.
We saw that. We saw that when Sophie Cunningham took JC Sheldon's head off. We saw it.
Okay. We did
We
see
saw
that.
T-shirts being made in support of Sophie being the enforcer. We saw her social media profile go into the millions and the Indiana Fever fan base applauding that. We have that example. And it was disquieting for sure, but that's the glaring difference. And then you get that anthropological look at it, right? You get what the socio impact is when it's a white player versus a black player. So it's just... But here's what I want to do. I want to look toward actionable things. I think everybody, no matter who you support or how long you've been a WNBA fan, can agree the officiating has to level up. It just has to get better. So I would like the WNBA in the 2 break instances coming up. That's WNBA All-Star and the 2-week break for FIBA that will be over in Germany when everybody's going to go dark, to show actionable items of here's what we're doing as a group to improve things on the floor. Whether it's actually, you hear from coaches all the time, we submit plays, we don't hear anything back. If you can just show me, hey, we've got a new chain of command that is really going to listen and filter through these complaints and look at tape, show me at least effort to improve, because the officiating has not met the level and caliber of athletes in front of them. And the slippage, it gets more noticeable by the day. These athletes are bigger, faster, and more talented than they've ever been before, and they deserve better.
Yeah, I just think also.
No, I was gonna say, the officiating is bad when people who are winning games are complaining about it, right? It's not just the people who are losing. Like when I was a head coach and I had a complaint with the officials, I would always make sure I did it after I won, so it didn't sound like I was whining when I lost games. But it's not just people who are losing games. It's every coach of every team. With valid points about what is not happening with the officiating.
No doubt. And when I was coaching, you can scratch 2 officials going into the next season, right? Because it was just a rule, okay, that we had, okay. But it was so hard to do that because that's their livelihood, and they'll get other teams. They're not going to get scratched by everyone. But for me, I didn't like to cut kids off the team. I don't like cutting. I don't like taking people off, or scratching officials or whatever. But at the same time, it's the integrity of the game, Helen, to your point. Like after a win, like it's not even, hey, because we lost, it's because you made these calls. No, it is the integrity of the game. We won the game. But there are 2 or 3 times where, I had some quizzical, looks on my face because that didn't seem to me to be the spirit of the rule, right? So it's interpreted in different ways, and I understand that on every level. I get it. But at the same time, the integrity of the game will always mean the most. And do you get everything right? No, because you're a human being, and I understand that, and I wouldn't want to do it. Okay, so just give them grace on that part, because it is such a tough job because they are stronger, faster, quicker. But at the same time, to your point about the freedom of movement, I did not know that was assigned, air quoting, both of y'all air quoted that, to Caitlin Clark, right? I did not know that. But with that, like if that's what the rule is, then go ahead and hammer that home, right? Especially if it's a point of emphasis and, coming into this season specifically, like, okay, make that a thing then blow that whistle every single time then. And won't have that Alyssa Thomas situation that didn't get called, right? Because and not that, did you miss it? Or was that not part of the structure of the rule? Was that not following the rule, and that's why it didn't get called? And not complaining like you need to call it. Like, was it like, did anyone react like you missed the call? No, it seemed irate in the moment, right? So maybe they thought in that moment that it wasn't enough for one, right? Because if it were enough for one, they would have blown the whistle, because the spirit of the rule that's being supposed to be enforced for this year, right? So for me, it's like, if that's what it is, then stand on it. Like if that's what it is, then do it. Hey, I was just in that 4 overtime game, 3 hours, 48 minutes. I don't know how many fouls were called in that thing. Listen, you call all the blow all the whistles, man. Blow the whistle, right? I'm fine with that. Like the song said, blow the whistle. Like I'm good. If that's what it's going to take to clean that thing up, clean it up. Clean it up then blow the whistle. We're there. The fans, nobody left. Everybody was at that game. Nobody's leaving. We're staying. We want to see the integrity of the game whistled and adjudicated properly on the spot, like we said. So for me, it's not like they're doing a bad job overall, but there have been some really egregious misses. And that, to Steph White's point in that post-game presser where she was irate, right? Saying, 2 times that it wasn't called. And then, on the other side of it, the coach on the other side said, hey, I don't like that was called out that way. So you can't win for losing, to your point about Steph White, Helen, about damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because it's like, you stand in it, and then, well, that's too much. If you don't stand in it, why aren't you saying anything? It's like, what are you supposed to do? So I think you got to take it off the coaches, take it off the players, and put it where the whistle is. I mean,
yes. And I want this to get addressed, and I really want it to get fixed, because we know what's on the way, right? We can't continue to be this messy and not together, because Juju is coming. and Hannah Hidalgo is coming, and Madison Booker is coming. Like, we need to get right, because the talent is just going to continue to just create shock and awe opportunities. And we want that for all the right basketball reasons.
We want that for the love of the game. We want that for the love of the game. Oh my God! And speaking of the love of the game, do you want to add anything else to that, Helen? Did you want to add
I just want to say this: until you get and make this a full-time job for officials, and this is the only thing that they do, this is going to keep happening. I mean, you can. I agree.
But that's
with
an
Cindy
action
about
item,
the actionable.
Helen. I love that. That's an
I
actionable
agree.
item.
Yeah. And so these are officials who are calling whatever other leagues they're calling, until you make it to the point where they can afford to just do this, where they can hone their craft on a nightly basis and just work on this league. There's only going to be so much you can do.
Yeah, I love that. And how about the opportunity for that? Because we're going to go to 50 games next season, right? So more opportunity, more reps, and make it a full-time gig. I love that idea, Helen. I really do.
Yeah, same. Let's make that a thing, Helen. I love it.
Let's make it a thing. Let's make it happen.
Yes. And let's get, the biggest action item I want to see is a former player in that commissioner's chair. Period. Full stop. Candidate,
the one you need just got reelected as president.
I know. So Nneka Ogwumike took herself off the table. So here's my choice. And I think it's a choice that would, not only impress Adam Silver, right? Because she's been in the NBA space with the New Orleans Pelicans, but
Swing Cash,
a Hall of Famer, you got it. Multiple WNBA champion, Swing Cash is the perfect person to be commissioner, because out of Swin's mouth, we'll never hear, well, I don't understand what the issue is about housing. She will never say that. I'm like, Kathy Engelbert.
Is there a conflict of interest, though? Because she's part of that 17% that invested in the WNBA.
I think she might have to divest or show that those funds, she said she's using that for her son's education. So if she can show that piece, that she's not currently earning money on it, but who better? Somebody who actually had skin in the game. That's who I want, protecting the players, all of the players, and growing the game to the best possibility it could be.
Well, it needs to be somebody that has played, somebody that has not only business skills, but people skills. You got to have both. And, Kathy, I think, has done some good things for the league and from a business standpoint. But you just keep hearing about the lack of people skills. And in the end, as a leader, that's what kills you. If you don't have people skills, that's what kills you.
Do you think that this moment with AT will help move that needle a little bit for her, just because it's so alarming, right? To have death threats. Like, do you think this moment that AT is suffering through, I'm sure, because who wants to hear that? In any realm, right? But do you think this is something that is going to be the thing that takes her there, Helen, Cindy? Do you think?
Are you asking about Kathy?
About Kathy, yes. Do you think this moment will help?
I think we'll see if she shows up in person tonight. BMAC says the game is at Barclays.
It is Barclays. Sorry.
If she does not, and it's just a piece of paper with a statement, it's a really big missed opportunity for her to do just that.
Well, she has been there to hand out. Yeah, this is her baby, right? She came up with this Commissioner Cup format following Sue Bird's lead and suggestion that, hey, we should have our own in-season tournament like we do over in EuroLeague. So this is Kathy's, it's her most, it's one of her most successful deals, right? Like the NBA followed the lead, right? What?
They did.
So at all previous games, Kathy has been there for the Commissioner Cup, handing out the trophy, all of the things. So there is an opportunity to make a stronger
statement, though.
But there's an opportunity for her to, say that this league isn't about one player. This league isn't about not just protecting one player. It's about being better and protecting everybody and making the game enjoyable, both for the fans to watch and for the players to play. She has a golden opportunity to do the right thing, and I just hope she takes it.
That's where I am with it. What were you saying, Helen, about the trophy, honey?
No, I was just saying that I agree with Cindy that she's been at every, every Commissioner's Cup. And again, from a business standpoint, I don't have any issues. It is just an opportunity, I think, to do more than just be on that stage. I think she needs to have a separate, whatever you want to call it, presser or whatever, where she condemns that kind of behavior.
Yes.
Forcefully, and says, this is not acceptable. We will not accept this in terms of our players, in terms of our league, yada, yada, yada. However she wants to put it, it needs to be separate from handing out the trophy, because then that's going to overshadow that piece. Right? That's a special thing. You won the Commissioner's Cup, whatever it is, you get paid, whatever. It needs to be separate from that. It needs to be a separate event where she condemns that behavior forcefully and says, these are the things that we are going to do to make change.
Right. And this is what we're not going to do also. Like, let's be clear. Let's be clear. Like, okay, this is what we're not doing, right? Again, going back to being a mom in the car, we're going in the store. This is what we're not doing. You're not asking for gum or
So make me turn this car around.
This is what we're not doing.
You go in the store, don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing.
Don't touch it.
Keep your hands in your pockets.
Hey, don't spend the night. We're not doing nothing. Hey, look, this is what we're doing. Oh my God. Yeah, I just had flashbacks. So we're all out of the house now. So anyway, but to the point of the game tonight, let's talk about it tactically speaking. Vegas and New York. And unfortunately, A'ja Wilson, you guys, rolled that right ankle against Chicago and is not going to be suited and booted for this one in the A1s. What does that mean for Vegas? Obviously, the four-time MVP missing in action for this one. Huge game, 500K bag there, sitting on the table, waiting for somebody to walk off the game with it afterwards. Oh my God, what does that do stylistically for both teams? Right, you're gonna change your defense because Asia's not there if you're in New York. But what kind of changes need to take place for Vegas without A'ja inside?
Go, Helen.
I think that, well, I said this last week. They need more production from their other posts anyway. So from that standpoint, they're going to need to get more. When you play New York, they're ginormous and they're long, right? So where they struggle on defense is when you get downhill on them, and if you're able to hit some threes, that's going to spread that zone out. Then you're going to be able to get downhill, get to the basket. I expect Kennedy Carr is going to do her thing. You need Jackie Young to shoot like she did the other night. You're going to have the point guard. She's going to do her thing anyway. That's a given, right? But the Talbot kid, it's not a kid. She's going to have to do more. Like everybody's going to have to do more. But when I see New York, I'm just like, spread them out, drive, get downhill, get to the basket. Because when you do that, they struggle in defensive transition. And for New York, if you could just spend more time exploiting mismatches, I would be a happy camper. Because there's so many opportunities for them where I think they don't take that. Now, some of it could be because the defense is speeding them up, but you're not going to have the unicorn tonight, I don't think. So,
concussion protocol probably.
I think it's still out for so it's not quite a loss where you have A'ja and you have Sably. It's not quite the same, but still a very important piece of their offense. So, whoever shoots threes better at the beginning, I think is going to have the advantage because they'll be able to get back on defense and set up. And if New York's not hitting, if they're not hitting their shots, their transition defense leaves a lot to be desired. I'll just say that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And obviously without Sably, Cindy, what does that do for New York in terms of punishing those cross matches that Helen was just talking about?
Well, first of all, I just want to shout out the fact that A'ja Wilson has only missed 6 games total
Wow.
over the last 7 seasons due
That's
to injury.
crazy.
That's
That
nuts.
is the kind, we're always talking about, availability is your best ability. She is
Always.
the poster child for that.
That's
I
nuts.
also
Yeah.
appreciate that Vegas doesn't want to push it. She doesn't need to play this game. They can go get
Right.
that bag without her. What I would like to see New York do is exploit the advantage they have with a couple of former MVPs on their roster in Jonquel Jones and Breanna Stewart.
Yeah.
I want to see those 2 women work in the paint first, get your first 10 points in the painted area, and then
Keep
move
it.
away from the basket, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
eat where the eating is easy and then start shooting your threes.
Yeah.
Let your 3-point snipers in Johannes and Phoebish and Ionescu, all of them, they can rise and fire because they can't get up in the paint and destroy people like those 2 can. That's what I want to see from New York. For Vegas, I want to see Cheyenne Parker-Tyus prove what a breastfeeding mom can do on the paint.
Get it, girl.
94 feet, 50, like that young woman is really starting to figure it out in the
Yes.
offense
Yes.
where she fits,
Yeah.
and she can go beast mode, and that's what they're going to need, right? Because
Yeah.
it just can't be all lists. She needs
Right.
help. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to
Yeah.
see a battle of the bigs really determine the outcome of this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, to your point, Cindy, about, starting inside first and, feast
You just
inside,
say that because you're a post player. That's it. You just say that because you're a post player. That had nothing to do with what
exactly.
you said.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Put the ball inside first. Yeah, put it in there. Yeah, feed and eat while the food's hot, honey. Put it inside and let's go. Absolutely. Both of them on one side and the other. Yep, let's go. But I love that though, because they're both really solid playmakers, right? So if it's high low, it doesn't have to be guard fed actions. Although I love Stewie on that back cut on the left side. They run that play a lot. She and Sab, 2-player action, empty sided. 2-player
Yep.
action with the 2 of them, and then that slip to the cup. It's tough to guard because then you probably have a shooter on the other side, the Johannes or somebody on the other side, so you can't come in and help. So, I mean, they structure their spacing in such a way where you can punish the paint early. And I can't wait to see that, by the way, and see if they run that first play out of the gates. But for Vegas, with missing Asia Wilson, I mean, that's just a lot of work that you're missing in there, right? And not just offensively speaking, right? You're missing such a staunch and solid defender. And that to me is, and I love Parker-Tyus, trust and believe. That's my dog.
Yep.
From college and then now as a Baba too, it's like she's getting the job done. But, there has to be some, solid rotation on the interior to be able to maintain disciplined defense inside, especially for saying, hey, New York, punish the paint, right? So now what does the defense look like against that? So now I'm intrigued, right? In the absence of Wilson, what that will be for them. And will that change their defensive schemes? Like schematically, what does that look like for Vegas? And maybe they'll have just a different kind of rotation and maybe sprinkle in some zone. They don't do a whole lot of it, but will they tonight because of that? I'm anxious to see what kinds of things Becky Hammond has on her little sheet before the game. What's the scout like, and what did she want executed on the defensive end? So I think my eyebrows are lifted because I'm like, what are we doing? Like, how are we gonna? What are we gonna do defensively against what New York is probably going to come out and try to strike inside first and do? So yeah, it's going to be a great game. 500K on the line, man. So they're going to be out there. It's going to be gritty, y'all. It's going to be gritty. Well, how you do the gritty? I know, but that's a different. It's gritty. It's whatever. Don't tell my kids I did that. That was bad. But anyway, I think it's going to be a really great competitive game. I think it's going to be fiery. I think both teams are going to be going for it every single possession. They're going to be the faces in the fan, y'all, trying to get the job done. And speaking of faces in the fan, the Portland and Mystics game, I'm gonna get out of the way, and I want you guys to say what you saw in that one. Whether it was the 60-second clip of the 60 minutes that were played, or if you watch the whole thing, child, it was something to behold. The second, fourth overtime game in the history of the WNBA in 30 seasons. The other one was back in 2001 against Seattle, which Washington also won. And then the Mystics had the 3 overtime game back in 2016 as well. But man, 3 hours, 48 minutes. That's a record for me, man. I'll put that on the wall. That's a broadcasting record for me with all that. But it was quite something. Helen, what did you see in that one?
I saw growth from the Mystics. I said last week that they're coming. It's just a matter of when, not if. And there was a difference in the execution of end of last plays of quarters when they played the Fire versus when they played Minnesota Lynx. They got downhill versus the Fire, where when they played the Minnesota Lynx, they weren't able to execute on that last play. And so for them, there's this arc of growth that you see, but it's like fits and starts. For the Mystics, it's, 1 step ahead, 2 steps back, 2 steps ahead, 1 step back. Like the consistency piece, once they figure that out, they are going to be trouble. And I think last year they were sort of ahead of the curve. Yeah. Then you come into this year where, Amore's still trying to figure it out. Like you said, Cindy, how important is Shakira Austin? So that's what I saw from that game, is that they were so much better at the end of that game than they were at the end of the game when they played Minnesota.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the whole game, but I was sat for that third half, the 4 overtimes in a row. And I was so impressed with the guard play of Sonia Citron and Carla Late. Like they were just bucket for bucket. It was so impressive. I was really surprised that Portland was able to hang after Emily Ingsler fouled out. That was impressive. I thought that big defensive piece was just going to be too debilitating to overcome. And the Fire proved me wrong. That was so impressive. And then to seal the deal, Kiki Irifin. Oh my God.
Crazy.
She is so legit. And she's just scratching the surface of how excellent she's going to be. But
absolutely,
what I was impressed with her in those moments, in those critical, we got to have a bucket, we got to have a stop. She wanted the smoke. And that, I was just eating my popcorn. I had my Chardonnay. I was like, yes, this is everything. So I was so impressed with both teams. And that's why I was sad. I was like, who's going to win this? What little bit of want more is going to seal the deal? And the fact that Washington won this game, despite leaving 11 points on the free throw line, like stuff could have been handled in the first 40 minutes, people. So
that's the growth and consistency part.
Right. That's the consistency part. On the other side, Portland, maybe they missed 1 or 2. Like their shooting percentage at the stripe was ridiculous. So it just made me, as a fan here in year 30, so stoked. Like this is where the game is today. And it's just elevating and being more awesome by every passing minute. And there's a star in every team, in every corner. There's no just 1 or 2. And we're not that far removed from only having 3 or 4 names to talk about on the regular, right? 15 years ago, right? So the fact that every single team can go 8 or 9 deep, consistently get scoring. The scoring is through the roof, like 125 to 124. If you'd have told me that was going to happen at the beginning of the day, I would have laughed in your face. Like, really? No, they don't have enough offense to do that. No. Everybody is capable. That's why the standing, there's been no separation in the standings.
Right.
Nobody's been able to break away. Yes, there's been some injuries and stuff, but that's the quality of play on every single roster. It's just next woman up, and I love it.
Yeah. And to that point, man, you can't circle one player to take away on any roster,
Mm-mm,
right? Or two or
mm-mm.
three, because someone else could pop. And that's what
Yep.
happened with the Mystics. Onyenwere with her 30. Sony Citron had 7 points through 3 quarters and ended up with a
Yeah.
career high 32 because of the
Yeah.
copious amount of overtimes. But
Oh,
but
well, no, no,
also
no,
she
no,
was
no.
shooting
She
that
got
thing.
there. She got there. This is how I got my
Okay.
attention started to shift in that fourth quarter because Sony
Okay.
went off for 14
She
in
did.
that fourth quarter to get
Yes.
level, right? Because Washington had been playing catch up and Portland
Yeah.
was trying to create separation, but just couldn't because Citron was just like, nope, let me do it. And she just does it so nonchalant. I don't even think the woman perspires. Like she reminds me of Maya Moore and how she
Very
played. You
much.
just look up and go, she got 27. What? How did
Just like
what,
that.
I mean,
She
she's
did.
slick
Yeah.
with it. It is
Yeah.
so fun to watch.
No, she's so tough, man. And the thing about it, she's probably the most selfless player I've ever seen on any level, NBA, WNBA, high school, college. I don't care. She is so selfless, but she knows when the team needs her, right? And
Yeah.
she stepped into that clutch moment, right? Whether it's fourth quarter or the fourth overtime, Sony
Mhm.
knew that she needed to make a play. And whether that was a pass or a shot or to create some contact at the rim, she was there for it and wanted that moment, embraced it. And Onyenwere as well. And I think they
Yeah.
both came up clutch in that stretch of overtime segments there that just really carried Washington over the edge. But then you're also looking at Iriafin, who ended up fouling out. And I'm not saying that as a strike against what she was doing.
Mm-mm.
I'm saying when she went to the bench, you guys, everyone stood up and waited until she sat down. And even as she was sitting down, she received a standing ovation because of how much passion she brought to the floor and how aggressive she was and how smart she was with decisions to attack when and where and how. She was just all over the place. I mean, she flew in for rebounds. Onyenwere flew in out of nowhere, flying trapeze with the greatest of ease, is what I like to say. And just out of nowhere comes flying in, gets the ball. And it was just these extra effort plays. And yes, you have 2 developmental spots on every team, right? Everyone has at least 2 spots, but I think everyone on the Mystics roster, they're developmental players because they're so young,
Yeah.
right? And
That's a good point.
and they're so tough and they're inexperienced. Their age is okay. Well, that is what it is, but it's their inexperience as being pros that really stands out in this win, right? Because they don't have a lot of experience in the league. It's Onyenwere and Shakira Austin are the only 2 players that have WNBA experience more than 2 years. So everyone else is brand new to it. So they're learning not only about themselves, which is what they do every morning. They look in the mirror. How am I going to attack this day? How am I going to execute the scout? I don't know if anybody did that. I used to do that, like looking at myself in the mirror, like, how am I going to bring it today? I need to do. Okay. But they're doing that first, right? And then they're also discovering the pro game and how that's different from the collegiate level of basketball. So they're learning and growing on every single play, every single day. And that's what you're seeing the fruits of. And will they have like you said, Helen, 1 step forward, 2 steps back? Yeah, because they're inexperienced, right? But they're developing. And I think that is the point that I'm going to take from that game is that they played with so much grit and force and just no quit in their heart and spirit. And the fans appreciated it. So to me, that was like the full beauty of that was the fans appreciating that they poured it all out and no regrets. I was like, no
Yeah.
regret basketball is the best way to play it. And that's what they did.
I love it.
If
Speaking
you're
of
if you're
young,
on UCLA's team though, if you're on UCLA's team and your coach is Onyenwere, like you gotta listen to her. You gotta listen to
Right.
her.
How about that?
Right.
The 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's what my
100%.
dad used to say. 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's what my dad used to say. You listen more
Yeah.
than you speak. Like that's what you do when you're learning, and that's what this team is doing. So, what were you going to
Right.
say, Cindy? You were going to say something.
Final thought on your young and fabulous theme here from the Mystics. I want to shift the focus to the Pacific Northwest, where Flauge Johnson has started to figure it out, and so has Awa Pham. Now, Pham
Ooh,
wasn't in
yes.
training camp. She, missed the first bit of the season, and you can tell that the light bulb for that young woman is starting to turn on. She was
Yeah.
5 of 6 from 3 for
Nuts.
21 points.
And
Three
swagger.
straight games. Yeah.
And
Three
swaggy.
straight games in double figures. And when I say 5 for 6 from 3 guys, I felt like I was watching a new iteration of Elena Deladon.
Ooh,
Fam is
Ooh, nice
slick
comp. Nice comp.
with
I
it.
like the comp.
She is slick with it. Oh,
slick.
and then the 1-2 from Johnson. Like she
Yeah.
likes that number 4 being called, right?
Let's
Career
go
high
for it.
28. The 3
Yeah.
ball is coming around. Like she wants to be great. You can tell it's like coming
Right.
out of her pores.
Yeah.
And if Seattle messes around and gets a legitimate point guard to pass to all of that size,
Yeah.
oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Storm are coming. They are
Yeah.
their last 3 games, I think, are just indicative of everybody is going to be in trouble a lot faster than they thought they were.
No doubt. No doubt. And Flaugier was at the BET Awards, period. I saw her out there, Flaugier. Oh my God. So good. She looked so good. Ooh, that blue dress.
Unbelievable.
She was killing it. Let's go 4. Yeah, I was cheering for her. I was like, okay, 4. Look at 4. Okay. The cutout and the whole thing. Okay, girl.
Yeah.
And she got up on stage and everything, and then goes out and has the 28. So, like, go ahead. Like, just, get you somebody who could do both. Like, she was everything. Like, 28. And how many assists? Like, she had good numbers. It wasn't just her points. She had good, nice, gaudy stat line. So, I mean, much like Angel Reese going to the Met Gala. I mean, it's just like, I love the fact that they're out there just having fun, but then also getting their job done on the court, right? Starring in their roles. That's what it's all about. It would be different if it was not happening. It was almost like, and I'm not saying it's like as like Dennis Rodman specifically, but watching The Last Dance, like Phil Jackson gave him space to be himself, but he also knew that when he came back, he was going to get 20 rebounds. So it's like, hey, as long as you come back and do your job, you do what you want, but I think that's the same, go out there to the BET Awards, do that, have fun, be you, come back and dominate. And she's like, check, period. and get it done. I mean, it was really fun to watch. All aspects of Flaugier was like, that was really fun to watch her do both things and dominate in both ways. So it was really fun. Anything else you want to leave the people with today? Anybody have any news? What's up next for y'all for the summer? Next games you're gonna go to? Anything, something like that? I don't know. I'm just throwing everything out.
I'm leaving for New York. I'm leaving for New York tomorrow. I'll be there all week for my birthday, and I'm going to their game on Tuesday, the Liberty game. I'm not sure who they're playing, but I'll be at that game.
Oh, yay! Happy birthday! Look at Helen.
Happy birthday! Please say hello to Ellie for me. I love Ellie. She is my favorite mascot in the entire league. So I know I'm not alone in that. So I too am going to check out a WNBA game in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to fly to Montreal to see the Tempo entertain Paige Becker's Easy Bud and the Wings. I cannot wait. Paige is, I just love watching her hoop in person. So I thought, you know what? 2 birds, 1 stone. I can see how Toronto's moving in Canada because they've been very intentional about scheduling games outside of Toronto to involve the entire country. So I want to see what that looks like in Montreal. And then because Olivia Miles is just cooking, I got the calendar out. Like, where can I see the links sometime soon?
Oh, no.
Will she have the afro or will she have the bun?
We got to get the metrics on what the stat line is.
When she has the afro, she means business.
Right? It's kind of like Asia in the white t-shirt, right? Like,
I'm telling you, when she has an afro, she check the numbers. Whoever wants to go down that rabbit hole, check the numbers on the afro versus the bun.
We need that on her hoop stats metrics, like the afro with the bun. And we also need Skylar Diggins.
Get on that, B-Mac. Get on that.
We need Skylar Diggins with the messy bun and the edges not quite down and the edges down. I think, and she'll tell you that too. I heard her talking about it, so I'm not talking about anybody because my edges are messed up a lot. So I'm not taking anybody. I'm not mad at anybody. So look, but no, I would be intrigued. But I personally, I like the goggles and the fro. It's a whole vibe for me. I like the look. She's just free. Like she plays free anyway. However her hair is, but. I just
Yes.
love the look of the fro, and then the goggles. She's just playing free. It's like she's
Mhm.
like a maestro out there, just like dun, 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 dun. Oh,
Yeah.
she's
It's
just
like
fun
the
to
old
watch.
ABA days with the headband and the goggles. The old ABA
Yes.
days.
Give her a headband.
And the afro.
Give her a headband and some knee pads, man.
Some
Yeah,
Yes.
some
do that.
folks won't. Some folks listening are too young to know about that, but go
That's
look
But
it
you know
up.
what they
hilarious.
could do? You know what they could do, Helen? They could watch the documentary on Amazon Prime about the ABA and how it
Oh,
forced
there you go.
the NBA to merge. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
There you go.
amazing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, blowing in the wind, man. Dr. J blowing in the wind, man. Running. Yeah, yeah. Let's get that. I love that. Hey, Olivia Miles, man. She's the real deal. That's why Cheryl Miller called her the show. I mean, I love that
Right?
nickname for her because that's what it is. Every time she
You know
steps
what?
foot on the floor, man, that's it. The show. Yeah.
I want it to be the O show, right? Because her first name is Olivia. It's just more like I think the
The O
show could
show.
be applied to anybody, but I like O show. The O
Yeah.
show.
I mean, what did Coach Reeves call it? Oh, she called her Minnesota Miles. Yeah,
I
that's
like
one
that
of them
too.
too. Minnesota
I like
Miles, and
that
then
too.
Magic Miles because Magic Johnson, like all the
Mm,
passes she was doing. No look, oh,
yep.
but yeah, yeah, any of them stick for me. But when Cheryl Miller said the show, I was like, oh snap! But the O show, I like that too. We got to maybe put a vote out. Which one should it be?
Yeah.
You against Cheryl Miller? You against Cheryl Miller on that?
Oh no, I'm losing that all day, every day. But I just wanted to be more identified with Olivia Miles.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, me, I'm not traveling abroad and I'm not going to New York or anything. I'm
Mm.
right here in the district. Atlanta's coming to town on Thursday. And then, of course, the 4th of July this weekend. I have a couple of my babies, two of the three will be
Mm.
around. So I'm just going to be, having some barbecue or crack some ribs open. I mean, crack some, not some ribs, crack some crabs open or something like that. Crack some ribs.
I was
Like,
gonna
who's
say.
that? Who ribs you cracking?
That's if I played pickup basketball, there would be a rib cracked. And that's what I'm not gonna be doing. See, I already said it's important what not to do. I'm not doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna crack some crabs open on the weekend with the kids and see some hoops out here. Atlanta coming in. My
Mm.
guy Carl Semesco. We get to give him a big hug. We worked together years ago, so it'd be good to see him back in the area here. So, but that's it for me. I got my baby home. I just got him from the airport, y'all. So I had to put on his shirt and wave through the
Nice.
sunroof when he walked out the airport. That's what I used to do when I picked them all up from school. I had my hands through the sunroof. They're like, "Mom, why are you waving through the sunroof?" I'm like, "Because I'm happy to see you." So that's what I did today. I was like, happy to see him. So there's that. And my
That is
long arms,
amazing.
and then all the way through the
It
sunroof,
works.
at
It
least
works.
elbow, the elbow high. You can see my hands and everything. Anyway, but
Mm.
that's how I'm living. That's what's happening. So, oh my God, happy birthday to you, Helen, ahead of time.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And Cindy, safe travels and have fun with that. Oh my God, I need to get my passport updated so I can, run the globe with you, man. I need to
Mm.
do that. I need to get up
Yeah.
there to Canada, man, a couple times to see what's going on up there. But anywho,
Yep.
that's going to do it for us for this one. We don't have to go home, but we got to get up out of here and be back. Our great producer who has just organized everything around flight schedules and Serena Williams playing today. But she's back, y'all. But we love that. But we appreciate you guys for hanging in there, listening to us, and make sure you make some comments. We like to give that feedback. So make sure you're making those comments too within the chat as well. So be back. Thank you so much for Helen and Cindy. I'm Christy. We'll see you guys next time. Happy birthday.